All right, everyone. It is Hello Again Wednesday. I'm trying this again via Zoom. And so the Zoom is in the Facebook link. So if you're watching on Facebook right now, you can also turn around and catch me on the Facebook page. And we're just going to see what's happening right here. I'm going to see kind of go back and forth because this is kind of I learned a little bit last week with the 100th episode. And so, first of all, though, let's just start. Um, I want to welcome each and every one of you. I'm so glad that you joined me today. I tried to get as close to 4 o'clock as possible. Thanks for following me on Facebook. Thank you for following me on my YouTube channel, Brent Miller, What's on His Mind. And you can check that out anytime you want to see some of the things I have on there. Or you can also check me out on my Rumble channel, which is Brent Miller 051, or always on our church website where I pastor at, which is culvercitychurchofgod.org. And you can check me out there. But of all the things, I want to thank you for just not only joining along, but telling your stories, sharing your answers. And if you can, for joining me via Zoom. I'm going to try and make sure I can kind of keep tabs on that Zoom and see if anybody's joining, as well as any comments that come our way on Facebook. And so I'm trying to do a whole bunch because this is it. All right. But I want to thank you especially for joining last week. When you joined last week, you know what? And some of you are clicking shares, and there was some watch party, maybe even things going on, and people were trying to get in. Well, I apologize if you were unable to get in. I know I might have made it. It might have been a little difficult, maybe. Keep on trying. You know, I put the Zoom link in today with stuff, so keep on trying. I'll keep trying to do it to where we can actually have you as my live special guest. And if you're not, you're just on the webpage, the websites and stuff. You're still my special guest. Please leave your stories. Please click like and share them with your families, your friends, and we'll join in and take and have a good time with that. I'm so glad you were here last week. And before I get into this week, I'm going to tell you what. There was Bruce Spencer, and man, I think it. I hate to be wrong. I didn't look into it completely. It might have been. You guys probably call him Bruce now. I've always known him as Bud, and I think it was Bud. And if it wasn't, then it was Uncle Bruce. And one of the questions we had last week was live was, it was about oil changes. Have you ever done your own oil change? And he wrote in the comments, have you ever changed oil on a backhoe? And I'm telling you, because my conversation was, man, I'm always nervous. Is the filter on right? Is the plug in the drain correct? And it's all going to stay in when I'm driving. And when he asked if you ever had changed oil on a backhoe, my thought, in fact, I wrote, because my thing would be this: if anything's going to rattle loose, it would be in a backhoe. And so, you know what? I enjoyed the conversation of last week. Well, here it is. Hello Again Wednesday. This is episode number 101. And with episode 101, we are doing spooky Halloween stories. And, there might be some repetition from the years or whatever, but, or if you've ever talked with me, you might go, oh, I've heard that story before, whatever. The question of the day is this: what is your spookiest or favorite Halloween stories? When our family, we start off what I call this holiday seasons that are coming up. The holiday seasons are it was Uncle Bruce. All right. Yay. It was Uncle Bruce. And so and Uncle Bruce, he would be one exactly like that. I mean, when the question was, when I read the question, I could hear voices in my head. Okay. But with our family was starting off this, what I call holiday seasons. I was making announcements in church and stuff. And as I was making announcements in church, I would never talk about Halloween. And the kids would always remind me with all these things coming up. Hey, trick-or-treating's coming up. Hey, trick-or-treating's coming up. And yes, trick-or-treating is coming up. And so what'll take place is we go trick-or-treating with friends and stuff like that. We got a couple of streets that really, the lights are on, people are giving out candy. It's nice because all you gotta do is a couple of streets and you got a boatload of candy. It's really cool. But when we start in our family with this holiday season, in the fall, we love to go up to the apple orchard. And so it takes about a 2-hour drive from our house, on the way on the other side of LA, and then you hit the mountains, and then you got to start to drive up the mountain. Once you start up the mountain, it's like a horseshoe, and it's Oak Glen, and they have like 6 or 7 apple orchards, pumpkin patches, mazes, all the touristy things of going to an apple orchard. Of course, our favorite is the apple cider donuts at Snowline, which is up toward the top of the mountain. And so, and then, we do the hot ciders and stuff like that. And there's a bunch of stories that go with it. So those that have went with these things can tell those stories. I'm not going to tell those stories. But we do start our holiday season trying to go up to the apple orchard. Took a friend up there with us this past time, had a great time with it. Then it begins. Everyone's talking, the grandkids especially, what Halloween costumes are we going to do? What Halloween adventures are we going to do? And every year, the grandkids especially, but the kids too, they want to head up to Fright Fest at Six Flags. Now, the grandkids are a little scared, and so we stay toward the entrance area for a great escape or whatever. But the other ones will stay till 1 a.m. and then enjoy the mazes and all that stuff that they do up there at Six Flags for Fright Fest. Well, now the grandkids are like, man, if we do this and this, maybe we can go up there and stay longer. And so they're challenging themselves. And I'll say this. As each year passes by, they do get a little braver on what to do. And yes, I noticed that there is people talking about trunk or treating, and they got their trunk or treat coming up this Sunday. You know what? We see a ton of advertisements out here for trunk or treating. Pekin, where we came from, they were doing trunk or treat and stuff like that. They do it every year, I still believe. And it is a great joy. That's one of the adventures that takes place throughout the season right now, and is that trunk or treating. But for, like I said, for us, it was Fright Fest, and some of them grandkids are kind of I don't stay till 1 a.m. and my scaring days are probably over, and the grandkids are getting braver and braver year after year. Now, I might have told some of these stories in the past, but that's me, and I'm just going to start reminiscing. Growing up on Royal Avenue in Rockford, Illinois, we lived across the street from an old boarded up, probably an elementary school, and it was right across the street from our house. It was boarded up. In the daylight, Trent and the rest of the guys in the neighborhood, we'd all kind of hang out in front of our house. And if we weren't going a block away to the park, we were in front of our house playing stickball. And you had obstacles. There was trees. There were some bushes by the flagpole. And then there was the boarded up school. And we'd play either stickball or wiffle ball. And if you hit the school, missed the obstacles, hit the school, you were guaranteed that was a home run. And so with it being a home run, that's some of the things that we did at that school in the daylight. Now at nighttime, it's a different story. You got this old, dark, red brick, creepy, no lights on, wooded windows, boarded up. And it just reminds you of, ready, a school where there was these evil teachers that killed kids. And that, who knows, maybe that's why the school is boarded up. It's now a haunted school. Who knows? I'm just kidding around. But the school was boarded up for many years while we played there and stuff like that. Now, in that same house, my dad would do things to now the house was old and it had the creaks and the board move creaking and stuff like that. It had the window shades that would go up all by itself, especially at night, and scare the lights out of you. And so those things, because they would go up on their own, no one touched them. They just all of a sudden they're rolling up. And my dad would hide in the dark basement, and the stairs were just stairs. There was they were not enclosed. He would go underneath those stairs, and thinking about it now, it's probably dangerous. Would try and grab our ankles and stuff, or grab at us and scare us as we're trying to go down the stairs. Who would be the victim of my dad under the stairs? Now, my dad, talking about scaring and stuff, my dad would convince me and Trent. Now, our neighborhood was kind of, it wasn't well lit up, I wouldn't say. And so, but when we were in the 2-story house, you could look out of the hallway window and you could see the neighborhood. You could see flashing lights. You could see houses that were lit up for Halloween. They were going to be giving out candy. And so we found it exciting to go trick-or-treating in the neighborhood in the neighborhood. Well, my dad then, as we trick-or-treated, we got older and older. My dad got, we always try and convince him, we want to go to the haunted house. We want to go to the haunted house. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was JC Haunted House. JC Haunted House. My dad would take me and Trent, and it was probably in downtown Rockford. And my dad would take us down there for some severe scaring, okay, to really be scared. And so when we would go to JC's Haunted House, I can remember some of the first times, because we'd be standing in a long line, laughing. We're all brave, me and Trent. And I think it was Trent. One year, a werewolf touched his shoulder while we were in line, and that was it. I don't even think we went in that night. It was pretty freaky and scary right then and there. But I know we've gone back, because there's times where we went into the JC Haunted House and you're getting scared. Creatures are everywhere. There's things that are taking place, loud noises. It's really kind of freaky. And I can remember, and maybe my dad can correct me if I'm wrong, there was one section where you're like going from one section of the haunted house to another section of the haunted house, and it had like a thin, tiny bridge. And as you're going over the bridge, you look down, and there's like a creature under the bridge in a glass, like in a glass setting, so to freak you out. And as they freaked you out looking down, I grabbed the handrail, and they had electrified the handrail. Probably some of the stuff they can't do no more, but they electrified the handrail walking across the bridge in the haunted house. And in that same haunted house, now we're walking through, we're trying to get through it. We're scared all the way through it. And you know how you kind of get that sense at the end of a haunted house? You're kind of like, okay, man, it's almost over. We're getting to the end. And you kind of like see, even though everyone's trying to grab you and do all that stuff throughout the haunted house, you're getting to the light at the end of the tunnel. And that's literally kind of what it was. We're coming around, and we come into this really large room. And you just kind of like, you're relieved. We've made it. We've made it to the end of the JC Haunted House. Excuse me. The only thing is it was really weird. This room was huge and empty, and it was black and white streaky stripes all around the room. Then it had these masterful strobe lights just flashing all through your eyes. And so you're flashing, and there's black and white stripes, and you're still trying to get to the exit. And lo and behold, there were creatures in black and white striped outfits, completely, faces, everything was black and white stripes, and they were on the wall, and the strobe light hid them until they came off the wall to attack you. Now that's freaky cool. And so, man, those were the days of going to JC Haunted House. I could probably tell you tons of scary, imagination invoked stories. But to tell the truth, I would rather hear stories from you. Some already talking about Yep, the spook house was probably when we were 5 or 6, and uh, man, that is pretty like I didn't even want. That's pretty like crazy back then, and so we did a lot of stuff like that um, to have some fun. I'm sure you guys got some stories of your past. Please share them. You're not on. Hey, we're gonna try and do Zoom all the time. Maybe we'll see what happens. But or I'll try and watch on Facebook what's happening too. So it was a little bit easier for me to do it today. So go ahead, click on the Zoom link if you want. You can be my live guest, or go ahead and just keep typing in as we go. I'll try and talk and answer about them as soon as I see them popping up. But go ahead, leave your comments on Facebook, comments on my YouTube channel, Brent Miller, what's on his mind. Click like, click share, and that would be great. Click following. That way you'll know when he does come on. When I do come on with my live on Facebook, you'll know. You'll be able to grab that link and join right in with me. Okay. Now, let's see. Woo, I did pretty good. It's going to be 5:30 pretty soon out here on the West Coast. I'll try and leave the Zoom link for the Bible study. We have a Bible study. I'm downstairs at the church. We have a Bible study at 5:30. Pastor Mark, he is leading us through the scriptures in the book of James. And so it's really an opportunity for you to join in and get into some history and stuff like that. And as we talk about the scriptures with the book of James this time. And you can always look for that in the comments. I'll try to put that Zoom link in there. Now, if you can't make our Bible study 5:30 Pacific time on the West Coast here, you go ahead and you can't do the Zoom link. Go ahead and find a Bible believing church near you. Check out when their Bible studies. Who knows? Because it's the weekend coming up and it's the last weekend in October. Who knows? Maybe they'll be even serving up some seasonal events in their Bible study. Make sure that you can be there. I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday. I'm always grateful that you're my special guest when you join me, and I look forward to seeing you next week on, let me see if I can do this, on Hello Again Wednesday.